Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Becoming Chiron, the key to unlocking healing and personal alchemy, with me, your hostess, Ursula Duffy. So, this is, I guess, technically a full podcast episode, season 4. As you all know, we're in season 4 right now. I'm going to kind of break free from the template that I established the last 2 episodes. This episode is going to be a little bit different, a bit of a hybrid, I guess you could say, as I am coming to you all today with a new story that's kind of been developing pretty much all of this year for me. And I'm seeing myself coming up to a very important crossroads. And as you all know, I always check in with spirit and, seek my guidance from my higher self and spirit first. And in seeking guidance on this, pretty much everything that I've put out all year so far, as far as the podcast episodes, the Astro-Weather checks, the new horoscopes, have been, answers to my own calls to spirit for help and for assistance and for guidance. And what I'm going to share with you all today is the most recent answer to my own call. And then this time around, it's going to be a call out to all of you. So I'm going to share with you where I'm at. I had originally intended to do today's episode about one emotion that I've been sitting with for a little while and analyzing myself and analyzing my own ways that I work through it and why I feel it myself and all of that. But then it kind of morphed into something different. So that emotion was the primary emotion for this episode was going to be disappointment. But now I have a roller coaster of emotions running through me, a lot of them actually starting with the letter D as well. So like disappointment, discouragement, disbelief, just a lot of that, all of that. So deflated, a little defeated, kind of, all of those feelings running through and going into this. And this episode is going to be as honest and transparent as I can possibly be with all of you. I believe that coming from that place and coming from my heart is always the best place to come from with every creation that I put out into the world, including these podcast episodes. So this is from my heart. This is a very vulnerable thing for me to be doing right now, and I'm aware of that. And I'm aware that it might not be received well by some, and that's okay. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, please, as usual. As you know, that is always also my intention going into these episodes. I am doing my best right now to embody my own Chiron and to work with this energy of the new moon. So we will be, I will share with you the story that I've written for what I am putting out today. And then we'll do a new moon astro weather check. So what I'm putting out to you today and the tagline that I'm giving this Leo new moon that's incoming is call for creativity support. I hit record. It's Saturday, August 3rd, around 9:40 a.m. here in Atlantic City. So for the timestamp, as we always do. The new moon is tomorrow morning at 7:13 a.m. in Leo. So this call for creativity support is very much a real illustration, my own lived experience of the energy of this new moon, the energy of the cosmos, where we are right now. And it actually is very much in alignment with a lot of the messages that came up on Tuesday's live readings that we did. We had a lot of Leo suns join us, which was really cool. And I had done a little astro weather check at the beginning of that. And creativity was a theme because that is a very, very much a energy associated with the sign of Leo. And most of the messages that came out in the cards and everything were all about creativity, even in the crystal cards that Jess pulled. So, and that's why I'm timing this the way that I am. That's why I'm putting this out into the world, recording this today, releasing it maybe today, definitely tomorrow with the new moon. and I am just going to read the story. If you've all been here with me for a while, you probably know this story already, or at least parts of it. I'm going to share a little bit more that I haven't shared yet in the podcast episodes. I do refer to the beginning episodes of Becoming Chiron. So if you're new here, welcome. And you can hear a very in-depth version of the story that I'm telling in this share in the first few episodes of the podcast. So I did a 3-part series when I first started my spiritual reawakening, and they're all themed a little differently because they're all different parts of the journey, but a very, very, very in-depth version of that is available in the season 1 in the beginning. So I referenced that. I just wanted to be specific. So I'm going to read this to you all. This is where I'm at. And yeah, so I will read this. We'll do the Astro-Weather check, and then we'll wrap up for today. I'll pull a card. I'm going to pull a card from Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light, because that is definitely, as a light worker and or a creative or anything as a human, working your light is a big reason why we come here to this planet Earth for this experience. So here it goes. Greetings. My name is Ursula Duffy, and I am very enthusiastic about my first creative project, donation-based, crowdfunding endeavor. I said crown. That was weird. Was that a Freudian slip? Crowdfunding endeavor. Professionally, I am an astrologer, certified aromatherapist, and soulpreneur, goddess of operations, and co-founder of Sea Goddess Healing Arts. I also founded my first business, Ursa Alchemy, which now operates fully under the umbrella of Sea Goddess Healing Arts. Personally, I am a wife, daughter, sister, and friend, and have been in a deep chapter of self-discovery, trailblazing my own path, deconditioning, and facing my fears for many years. I was born and currently live in Atlantic City, New Jersey. If you already know me and my story, thank you for being here. And if we're meeting for the first time, welcome. I appreciate your time and consideration. Here's a brief backstory and reasons why I'm crowdfunding. You can hear the extended version of this story in the first few episodes of Becoming Chiron, and I put a link. There's live links in this, so I'll share more of that later. I went through 2 very profound spiritual reawakening experiences, one in 2015 and the second in 2017. I consider these 2 experiences to be calls from the universe and my soul to come back home. And I answered both calls in very big ways. It's been almost 10 years since the first one, and in that time, I learned how to develop my intuition and communicate with spirit, while also learning the healing arts of aromatherapy and astrology. I attended Aroma Head Institute online to learn and achieve aromatherapy and essential oil specialist certifications, and an online intensive 1-year apprenticeship program to achieve a professional astrologer certification. Both courses of study were completed while simultaneously working full-time. After undergraduate college, and for over 15 years, I worked as a certified professional geospatial scientist for private and federal government organizations. As I was completing my astrology apprenticeship, I began realizing that the corporate world and the work I was doing for my career were no longer fulfilling and in alignment with my true calling, purpose, and passions. So I diligently began planning my own great resignation. I founded Ursa Alchemy in early 2019 and began offering astrology readings and aromatherapy services in person and online as my side business. I also worked extremely hard to pay off all my outstanding debt and minimize my personal expenses by adhering to a strict budget. I saved every penny I earned through my work with Ursa Alchemy, so I would have a financial cushion for the transition period that would follow my Great Resignation. I stuck it out and diligently committed to this plan for over 2 years until I knew in my heart that it was time to make the transition and put in my notice. During this time, I also became co-owner and co-founder of Sea Goddess Healing Arts in early 2021. My Great Resignation occurred in mid-2021 on Friday, August 13th, which was a cool synchronicity. And at the time of launching this crowdfunding endeavor, I have been gratefully doing my soul's work full-time for almost 3 years. I was so burned out from working full-time, going to school, and doing the side business simultaneously that the first year felt more like a recovery and assimilation period to a whole new way of life. Throughout this time, I have confronted so many fears and uncertainties, particularly around the safety and security of a steady paycheck, as well as putting myself and my work out into the world in new and various ways. Through my work in the healing arts, I feel I have shifted into my true calling to create and retrieve cosmic maps to help people navigate and discover their soul's journey. It is always my intention to be of service and to assist and support others during their own personal transformation by guiding them to open their minds and hearts to the language of the plants, planets, and spirit, and to live in touch with their soul. This is the path and my purpose that were revealed to me through the spiritual reawakenings, through my own self-discovery and self-awareness journey since 2015. I know that my purpose is to be of service to humanity, in service to spirit, and through my service work, heal and come home to myself and my authenticity. My creative projects and birthing these creations into the world are also big parts of my purpose. I feel that my creativity has finally come back online, which is a part of me that's been extinguished since childhood. Every time I create something, I'm blessed to teach or read for someone, to give back to my community, I am lit up and feel like my soul has been plugged into source. I can go into anything feeling badly and come out feeling totally refreshed and renewed. And that's how I know it's my true work and purpose. One of my favorite quotes is, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." C.G. Jung. For the first time in my life, I love my work. And every day for the last 3 years, I've finally been able to be who I truly am. My soul's work is my full-time job. This wasn't my reality before, and when I resigned from the corporate world, I vowed and promised myself that my soul's work would never be backburnered or a side project again. Planning for the unexpected is impossible, and since 2021, there have been many unexpected and unanticipated twists, turns, and challenges. I've sacrificed a lot and have been maintaining a very bare bones, necessity-based lifestyle ever since. It has been my goal and my dream that by staying devoted to my soul's work, an organic, natural transition to being fully supported financially by this work would be part of the process. That dream alone helped me take the leap of faith. At first, the income I was earning from readings, teaching, and my variety of services was enough to cover my expenses and support the time I devoted to my creative projects and community service that I've offered for free. It went as planned at first, and I wasn't dipping too much into my savings. But for the last year and a half, especially in 2024, something has shifted, something that I cannot quite figure out. I know that the economy has had an impact. My readings, class bookings, and overall sales have decreased. I've actually added more budget-friendly services and increased availability of coupons and discounts to assist people. Due to all of these unanticipated changes, simultaneous rising costs, and my financial cushion dwindling more quickly than anticipated, I am at a crossroads. I can no longer continue to consistently offer the variety of creative resources that I currently produce without some form of financial support. I have been wishing and praying that something magical would happen before creative project crowdfunding or re-entering the workforce became options. The free resources and creative projects to which I'm referring are the Cosmic Connection weekly horoscopes that I write as a contributor for Shore Local News Magazine, my podcast, Becoming Chiron, the key to unlocking healing and personal alchemy, now in its 3rd year, bi-monthly Astro-Weather checks, which are astrology forecasts, and my participation in and curation of free offerings through Sea Goddess Healing Arts, such as our monthly Soul Broadcast newsletter. It has been my highest hope that all of the above creative offerings and resources would organically turn into sustainable income through readings, bookings, podcast subscriptions, and residual kickbacks. I am in this strange gray area with the podcast and do not yet have a large enough audience to monetize on the Spotify platform or on YouTube with ads or sponsorships. Each creation takes me at least 3 to 4 hours to complete, roughly 40 plus hours per month, oftentimes more. And that's in addition to my responsibilities managing our business operations. So herein lies the crux of the crossroads and the reasons behind this call for financial support. The last thing in the world I want to do is pull back or completely give up on any of my free creative offerings, resources, or projects. The last thing in the world I want to do is re-enter the workforce in either a part-time or full-time capacity that would take my time away from my creative projects, managing the business, my soul's work, my purpose, and being of service. I honestly do not want to ever backburner my soul's work, ever again backburner my soul's work. These are the reasons why I've started this crowdfunding endeavor. Asking for help, especially financial help, is a very vulnerable thing for me to do. Yet here I am at this crossroads and having to make a choice between 2 very different paths. I am humbly, with great humility, and with the highest of hopes, asking for donations and financial support for all of the time I invest into my creative projects, and for that funding to allow me to continue with my creative projects, soul's work, and this path without disruption. I need help getting over this hump. My goal is $10,000, and it is my highest hope and dream to meet or exceed that goal. If you enjoy and value my creative work and free offerings, if my work touches your heart and has helped you on your own journey, I am asking for energetic reciprocity in the form of financial support. If anything I've created over the last 5 years has impacted you, your life, offered guidance, inspired you, and provided any form of support for you on your own journey, please consider supporting me now. I invest my all into every creation and feel that I finally found my voice and begun to build an audience and community. Stopping or pulling back now would be heartbreaking for me. I've devoted so much, have personally grown so much, and finally have both feet in on this path. If we haven't yet worked together and you are called and able to contribute to this endeavor, it would be a tremendous gesture and signal that my work is meaningful to you and has value. If we've already worked together and or still do work together, I am so grateful for you, for sharing your soul and resources with me and the financial support you've already provided. Thank you. I'd be eternally grateful for your support of this endeavor as well. If you are unable to contribute financially at this time, I understand, and I'm grateful for your consideration. There are still many ways to show support and reciprocate on all the platforms on which my work is available. In feeling through this situation, one solution I have considered is putting my work behind a paywall, but I don't think that's a fair solution and would probably result in a decrease in the reach of my work. This call for support is truly my last-ditch effort before stepping back on the traditional path, significantly decreasing or even discontinuing my creative work and re-entering the workforce. In honor of the 3-year anniversary of my great resignation, my upcoming 44th birthday on October 6th, and to help me stay fully, truthfully, and authentically on my soul's path at this juncture, I am asking you to please make a generous donation to this endeavor and support me financially. There are tokens of my appreciation built into every giving level as gifts you will receive in exchange for your support, in addition to knowing that you are helping me fully live my purpose and live in touch and in alignment with my soul. My podcast tagline is Be a Maverick. Your donation and financial support will help me continue to embody that tagline and continue to be a maverick. With humility, love, and gratitude, Ursula. And then in the platform I chose is called Fundly. It's like Kickstarter, but a little bit different. It's not all or nothing, which is why I chose it, just in case. And the story will be in there. And at the bottom, there's actually, I don't think I've ever done this before as far as the links that I put in the episode descriptions. So I usually just put a link to my webpage. But this will actually have an entire list and menu of every single service that I offer. As far as my readings go, aromatherapy services, the signature aromatherapy product shop that we have on Sea Goddess Healing Arts that I created every product for except for the bath salts. I have a downloadable classes library. They're pretty much all of mine. The one that's a shared product is the Harnessing the Power of Your Dragons class that Jess and I taught last November. There's also guided meditations that I've created. So they're also kind of built into the giving levels as well as on the menu as a separate item, because I don't think I've ever mentioned those. And they're not exactly linked to my page. So I also include links to the creative projects. You're listening here to Becoming Chiron. This will be, as always, a video episode on Spotify and our Sea Goddess YouTube, and then in the audio feed for Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and the couple other platforms that this is on. So you'll be able to link to that, to this whole thing through the one link that I will only include from now until my birthday. So whatever episodes I do, Astro-Weather checks, or when we get back to our usual programming here on Becoming Chiron with the next emotion, it'll only be the one link to the Fundly page, and then you can get to everything else from there. So the other thing that I wanted to mention with this is I also love to barter. So that I can consider reciprocity, energetic reciprocity. I love doing readings for people and then receiving whatever their service or talent is in return. I'm actually in the middle of doing that right now with someone that is, I'm sure, going to blow me away when we're ready to do my part of it. We did hers the other day, and I got to spend 3 hours with somebody just on their birth chart. So I was just so plugged in and lit up by that, and I can't wait. So I'm very excited for that. And just know that that is also an option. Like, the donation financial support piece of this is the primary purpose, but a booking or something like that is also something that I would greatly appreciate, and built into the giving levels that you'll see when this is live if you go to the page. So I include links to everything. It is like a menu. All of my pricing is here. You'll see exactly, like, you don't have to go through my page to look at anything or go through my stores. It's all right here. So yeah, that's where I'm at, everybody. And I'm just grateful that you've made it this far with me today, but also through everything. And it's 10:06 a.m. right now, so that's pretty cool. That's my birthday. Oh, spirit. Let's shift gears. Let's do our Astro-Weather check. And I pretty much illustrated the energy in all of that, but let's look at the chart as we usually do. And I'll just point out a few other very important things. So like I said, the new moon's in Leo tomorrow morning, Sunday, August 4th at 7:13 a.m. Here is our chart. The sun's in Leo, so it is a sunrise chart, so a Leo rising chart. And the new moon will be at 12 degrees of Leo. And in that Leo energy still is Venus. I have not yet seen Venus. Has anybody seen Venus? I don't have a clear view of where she probably is in the sky right now at sunset. So I just need to get out to a place where I can really see the horizon line and look for Venus, because one of my favorite things is when Venus comes back in the evening sky. So with the Leo energy, like I said, it's creativity. It's heart-centered authenticity and creativity at its highest expression. It's our playfulness, the drama, all of those things kind of get pulled in usually like in the mainstream with Leo season. Sun is our consciousness, who we are at our core. Moon's right there, infused with that energy, with our, emotional state involved as well. And then Venus just had a retrograde in Leo last summer, right around this time. So Venus is now going back over that part of the sky in a whole different phase and a whole different journey. But the fact that Venus is there as well at 29 degrees of Leo at the time of the new moon, I think is pretty cool to get Venus's energy kind of infused with that. That connection energy is there. The mantra that I was teaching last year during the retrograde was, the strongest relationship I have is the one with myself. So think about how that's materialized since last year around this time for you. Relationships, connections, values, all of it. Like, valuing creativity is a big part of this new moon energy, which is why I'm doing this now. And then we have Mercury stationing. Mercury's right here in Virgo at 4 degrees. It'll start to station, yes, tomorrow, and then the retrograde will start on the 5th and go until the 28th. So it starts in Virgo, and then it'll be primarily in Leo. We've been in the pre-shadow period, which is just Mercury, quote unquote, direct over the same degrees that it'll be retrograde, since July 16th. So just know that that is also incoming and just after the new moon energy. It's kind of cool. This year, as I mentioned before, the shift is into fire. So from the earth signs to the fire signs for the Mercury retrogrades, they do this every roughly year and a half. They'll switch signs, which is cool. So the whole energy is different. The first one this year was in Aries during the eclipse season. We all got a good taste of that Aries energy with the retrograde then, and now we're shifting into Leo. So creative projects, creative things, it's all under review. Everything, as I always teach with Mercury retrogrades, it's all the E words. So retrograde itself is an E word. The abbreviation is RX. So it's like the planet's giving you a prescription or a script to take note of, take stock of, review of all of the things that are in the territory of where the retrograde's happening in the sky in your own chart. So as you all know, I've shared, I'm a Taurus rising. So Leo is my fourth house. And for me, that's where my North Node is. I've shared that also. So coming home to myself, coming home to my own authenticity, like fourth house is home, family, ancestry, that kind of thing. Those are big themes for me, but primarily for me, the one that's lit up the most from the fourth house is the authenticity part. So all the other things for me will be under review, but the creative project thing has been the thing on the forefront right now. So this is just my lived experience of the retrograde. But with it starting in Virgo, which is where Mercury is happiest, it's one of the signs that it rules. It's where it's said to be exalted. We have the start of the retrograde infused with this practical, organized energy. So that's pretty cool to kind of be looking at all this from that perspective first, and then drop into the creativity part once Mercury re-enters the sign of Leo. So we have that energy going into it. This is a really beautiful new moon. It's infused with a lot of potential. And then I say that because it's at 12 degrees of Leo, like I said. The North Node right now is at 9 degrees of Aries. So that is a trine, fire to fire. So the new moon is sending very positive, supportive energy to our own creative path that we're trailblazing in the world. Like the path forward is the North Node collectively and individually. So the soul's growth that goes into your creations, putting energy into your passions. Leo's ruled by the sun, so just all of that energy is also infused and prevalent, just staying true to your heart, staying true to your core, to your consciousness, who you are at your core, essentially keeping that fire stoked. What keeps you lit up. It also relates to inner child. So there's an element of that infused into this energy as well. And then we also have support from Jupiter in Gemini. This blue line here is a sextile. I always remember the meaning of a sextile by the fun tagline, sextiles are sexy. So 15 degrees of Gemini is sextiling 60 degrees to 12 degrees Leo. So the abundance and the expansion and the consciousness and the optimism energy is infused into this new moon as well, coming from Jupiter. And then we have Mars here right now at 9 degrees of Gemini. And that is sending a trine and supportive energy to the south node of the moon, which is the release point. So action with Mars, more passion and drive with Mars to release things that are no longer serving us, that are disturbing our peace, that are taking away from our overall balance and harmony. So that energy is infused into this new moon as well. And then right now we have pretty much all week we've had a square between Uranus and Venus, and that's now separating. So the relationship themes have been on the forefront all week. Surprises always come with the planet Uranus. So if that's been something that's been coming up all week already, that's why. And then shifting into after the new moon, that energy into the middle of the month, we have a building square developing between Saturn and Jupiter, which is going to bring some tension because Mars is getting closer and closer to that square as the month goes on as well. And it's going to be tension in the skies for the middle of the month to the end of the month, essentially. And Venus is going to come online to that square as well. So get really clear about your intentions for this lunar cycle for the next 6 months. Infuse it with as much positivity that you can into your own passions and your own creativity. And remember all of this energy right now as we move further into the month where it's going to get a little bit tougher. But as you know, with me, squares I see as opportunities to take action. They're initiations. I'm coming to develop this phrase every time I work with somebody now with my own experience with my squares. I love my squares. They can be brutal and irritating, especially when they get activated by other planets that transit our own natal charts, as always. But they really force you to act or to consider action. If you don't always act, that's okay too. But really drop into the creative and the courageous spirit and the strength spirit of Leo with this new moon, but also moving forward into the month. So that's our Leo new moon astro weather check Like I said, the tagline is a call for creativity support. So yeah, we'll wrap up for today there. The other thing that I mentioned in what I wrote, the story that I read, and also I always mention with every episode, the reciprocity, the likes, the comments, the shares, the follows, the reviews, like all of those things. I mention them because they ultimately only help me. And that's the easiest, fastest, and freest way, with like another moment of your time once the episode is done or while you're listening, that you can support me. Because with the way that this works on these platforms, that helps build the audience to get to the point of being able to advertise and get sponsors and that kind of thing, to monetize. Spotify's a lot easier than YouTube is, but that helps the podcast get seen. And once the audience is there, then I can do things a little bit differently, which would be nice. So that's why I mention that every time. And on YouTube, it's a little bit more challenging and dynamic. Spotify, I prefer Spotify actually because, one, they always improve everything. They're always on some kind of mission to make it easier, better, and they have the creator in mind. So with the video, like I adopted that. I was an early adopter of that actually when they first enabled it, because I finally got to the place where I was okay being on video, like right around the time that they enabled it. So that's where the video podcast episodes were born from. So sharing the screen and being able to show you what I'm talking about. Oh, we got to pull the card too. Was a really cool thing, because if you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube, now you can actually see what I'm talking about, which helps me teach it and helps me relay it and demonstrate the energies with the chart and the cards. Like you can see the cards. So having this video option is really cool. And Spotify actually just enabled commenting on episodes. So I usually would do like a poll or a Q&A or something, and you'd have to go in and look at that. But now you can just drop a comment. I don't know if they have stars yet, but if you follow the show, that helps me also. And then with YouTube, the likes, the comments, shares, that kind of thing really helps. Apple Podcasts, it's super easy and has been for years now. You just scroll to the bottom of the podcast feed and you can put the star there and leave a review there. So that's really, really easy to do if you're on your phone. So I'd greatly appreciate that. I've had this podcast for, like I said, 3 years now, over 3 years. And I know there are a lot of people that listen to it. I can see the stats, but there's only 2 stars. So just doing something like that would tremendously help me. Like besides everything I've already shared, I always mention those things too. And that's why I do. If you're a podcaster and creator, you get it. I know you get it. So yeah, let's pull our Work Your Light card. This is Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light. I pulled from this deck before on the podcast. So let's see. What do I and everyone need to know at this time with this new moon in Leo energy? So let's see what the card is. This is a good Mercury retrograde card. Wait, postpone, pause, say no. It's the no card. So that's interesting. I have some things in my life that I can definitely relate this to, for sure. Not this. Guidance has already been received on this, but this is a perfect illustration of a Mercury station. So with Mercury retrogrades always around the stations, for some people, the pre-retrogrades can be a little bit more intense. So let's see. It's a confirmation card. So with Mercury retrogrades, it's always an opportunity to slow down, to when we have a technology problem or a glitch or a miscommunication or something like that, to just take a moment, take a breath. What's the message? What's the lesson? Mercury is always there to teach us something with some kind of magic to it, even though they can be frustrating. To take the beat, take the breath, think about it, receive the message, think about the lesson, and then maybe redirect or change your course or something like that. So here is what the book says for the no card. You are being called to either pause or say no. Saying yes to something that isn't in alignment with you will drain your energy and your time. Hold out for a congruent, aligned 100% yes. Often, when we are looking for guidance to make a decision, it can be frustrating not to move into clear and considered action. However, timing is everything, and not receiving clear guidance is actually guidance in itself. We all go through times known as waiting periods. These times are crucial for our body to regenerate, the new path to formulate, and the universe to begin creating things on our behalf. You don't need to be plowing forward all the time to move forward. A potent, congruent yes when the time is right will put you ahead leaps and bounds. Do not force things now just because it seems like the only option. Take a breather and wait. The waiting is actually very productive, for when the time for movement comes, you will be ready to dive right in. Use this time to regenerate and ponder what you truly want. Consider the options. If the options are not clear, don't fear, because this time is a gift. Use it to tend your garden and take a rest. Take a moment from your busy life to clear the decks and prepare for the time in the future. For come spring, clarity will bloom and you will have the reserves, space, and drive to say yes and act and move quickly. Work your light. Say no, postpone, or wait. Perfect Mercury card. And I love, we have the Jupiter energy infused. So we have some lightning going on there. We have the Uranus energy infused. So that's pretty cool. So definitely use this Mercury retrograde and pretty much the month of August with everything else that we have incoming to review. If you know where Leo is in your chart, you know, the beginning of Virgo, Leo, that's where the retrograde's happening. That will give you insight into some of the themes if they haven't already been brewing. And just remember, the first part of the retrograde, we're like burning off the themes that came up in the cycle that started with the last retrograde. So there's like a burning off, but then there's a new beginning when Mercury meets up with the sun. When I have that, actually, that date will be, I don't know if it'll be before our next Astro-Weather check for the full moon. It'll be the day before, actually. So the Kazemi, it's called, when Mercury and the sun meet up at the same degree, will be on the 18th of August. So yeah, that's what I've got for you all today. I appreciate your support and for being here always, regardless. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to be a maverick. Bye.